What is going on YouTube? Espresso Shucko here, and today we are hitting the Regulation F ladder again for a second time with this Gouging Fire Riolu team. Half this team here is physical, which means it is going to benefit from receiving coaching from Riolu. We have Gouging Fire, Rillaboom, and Metagross, all of which are great recipients for a free +1 attack and defense boost. On Gouging Fire here, we are a offensive attacker here holding the Clear Amulet, meaning we don't have to worry about our stats getting lowered. And plus, our Heat Crash, Psychic Fangs, and Dragon Claw are all going to do great amounts of damage once we get a coaching or two off. On the Metagross here, we have a Body Press Metagross with Iron Head and Psychic Fangs and a Grassy Seed in case we don't bring Riolu, or we bring Riolu and Riolu goes down before Metagross. We can bring in Rillaboom and then activate that Grassy Seed to give it a free +1 to its defense stat. Now the drawback there is if Rillaboom doesn't come to a game but Metagross does, well, it doesn't get the +1 off the Grassy Seed, so it's kind of a useless item otherwise. But I digress, it does work out relatively nicely. And then as far as Rillaboom goes, if Rillaboom goes into battle with the Riolu, Rillaboom's already holding the Assault Vest, and this is kind of a more bulkier EV set on the Rillaboom, which means it's going to definitely appreciate having that extra attack boost to just help it do more damage. And on top of that, it's going to get tankier on the physical side, so that is relatively nice. The Rillaboom here does have Grassy Glide for its priority, but Grassy Glide was nerfed going into Generation 9. It was lowered from 70 BP to 55, and you know, unless you go Terra Grass, the Grassy Glide is just not going to hurt as much as it used to. So we do have Wood Hammer as well, just for some extra raw explosive grass type damage. And if we don't have our Grassy Terrain anymore, we have an alternative to the Grassy Glide. We have Knockoff for a little bit of utility as well to just slap away some items. And we have Fake Out just to provide a little bit of support for any of the rest of the team that might need some setup. And speaking of setup, we have Suicune here with Calm Mind and Tailwind. So Suicune does have overall speed control for the team by being able to turn on Tailwind, and if Suicune doesn't want to go for Tailwind and it wants to do more of its own solo act, well, we have Calm Mind to boost up its special attack and special defense. We have Scald for not only just raw water type damage, but also for some pretty good burn odds, and we have Snarl to help keep the opponent's special attackers in line, which is relatively nice. And then finally we have Flutter Mane. Everyone knows what Flutter Mane does at this point. We have Terra Water on this thing to help it resist water type attacks. If we do go Terra, we have Moonblast and Shadow Ball for raw damage, and then we have some Icy Wind for a little bit of speed control. But because the focus hash is on Riolu, we're running a booster energy on our Flutter Mane, which does mean it is a little bit more vulnerable to opponents' heavier hitting attacks, especially the physical ones. That said, let's jump on into the video. Okay, my opponent here has a Sun team with Venusaur, Torkoal, Walking Wake, King Gambit, Tornadus, and Landorus. Alright, now, I wish I had a means of removing the Sun, but I don't. So let's just roll with it. Let's get that a free plus, well, 33% into the attack for my Photosynthesis. Let's go Riolu and Gouging Fire. Let's bring Flutter Mane in the back, and let's bring Suicune as well. Suicune here, battle of Walking Wake versus Suicune, I guess. But yeah, I think this is okay because we have Flutter Mane with the Icy Wind that can threaten Landorus and Torn and slow them down. Walking Wake doesn't appreciate the speed boost or the speed drop. Venusaur doesn't either, and plus, aside from Sleep Powder, there's not much that Venusaur does to my Gouging Fire, so we should be okay at the end of the day is what I'm trying to say. Now, this could go horribly wrong. That is always a possibility, but if it does, you guys won't see it. So, if you are watching this battle, things should have went well. Yeah, alright. So, Landorus and Torn right off the get-go. Alright, so Gouging Fire is not in a good position right here. So, I think we're just going to pivot hard right into Suicune. And, honestly, I'm going to go for a feint into the, no, I'm going to switch Riolu out too. I think we're just going to hard switch both of them. No. we're going to go Protect with Riolu. And the reason why is because if Suicune can come in here and set up Tailwind to counteract their Tailwind, then Flutter Mane should be able to come in should Riolu go down the next turn, and we can have our Tailwind to cancel each other out, and then we have Icy Wind off of the Flutter Mane. So, and the nice thing too is their Tailwind's going to be a turn before us, so we'll be able to have our Tailwind afterwards. Now, we do dodge the Sandsear off of Riolu because of the Protect, but Suicune's going to take that. So, we do get a little bit of Leftovers recovery, which is going to be very important. I'm going to go for the Tailwind now, just to offset things. And honestly, I want to go for a Feint into the Tornadus just to see if it's a Focus Sash or not. If it is a Focus Sash, great. We just broke the Focus Sash, and then we can go from there. So, let's see how this works out. So you turn off the Landorus. Alright. Fair enough. I do like to see that because now I can go for a Calm Mind in front of whatever comes in. Unless it's Venusaur, then I want to pop a Terra Grass in front of that, potentially. So, well, if it's Venusaur too, they don't have the Sun boost. They do have a Tailwind boost, but I'll also have one. Oh, it's Walking Wake. Okay. All right, so we lose Riolu here. That's great. If they go Terra Fire, that could be a little bit spooky for my Flutter Mane. But I really like the idea of bringing in Flutter Mane here. And plus, we now have our Tailwind. We have a little bit of Leftovers. I think a Snarl is going to be in my best interest here. And plus, we can bring in Flutter Mane. If we can get rid of Walking Wake, that should be okay. So, we have our booster energy. I think we go for a Snarl. And Flutter Mane does have good special defense at the end of the day. I think we can go for the Icy Wind, because I feel like we might see a Terra Fire come off the Walking Wake to resist a Moonblast. So if we can slow them down a little bit, and also weaken their special attack with the Snarl, great. No Terra yet, so they probably wanted to see if I was going to go Terra Fairy on my Flutter Mane. So, we'll see where this... Oh, okay. Great minds. Great minds and all that jazz. Alright, so Suicune's going to take a speed drop, Flutter Mane's going to take a speed drop, but Flutter Mane does have its Photosynthesis. Now, that's a lot of damage. Not going to lie. Kind of wish my Suicune was a little bit faster, but I went for bulk on this thing. I didn't go for speed. Now, we do have Scald in our back pocket, so we can go for the Calm Mind and just hope that we can gradually take out the opponent. Their Tailwind is probably... Yeah, they're down to their last turn of Tailwind here. So I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to try to go for the Tornadus. But the Icy Wind will at least cover us, and then that way it's going to do damage to both. And yeah, that's definitely enough to get rid of the Tornadus. And we have our Tailwind still, so with their Tailwind fading, Landorus is going to be in a bad position at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to lose Flutter Mane here, so Gouging Fire has a lot of work cut out for it. It definitely does because of that Landorus, but we have the Calm Mind on Suicune. We can start building up some Leftovers recovery, and then we can try to do some damage. And plus, I do have my Dragon Claw on the Gouging Fire. This is going to be our last turn of Tailwind, so they might even protect the Walking Wake here. And if they do, it's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. So, if Landorus comes in, I go Burning Bulwark on Gouging Fire just to keep it safe from the Walking Wake, because Walking Wake is faster. And I go for the Scald and the Landorus slot. I think that's the way to go. I think we go Scald into the Landorus here, and I think we Bulwark. And then that way, we'll keep Gouging Fire safe. We can try to reset our own Tailwind if we need to. And we go from there, because Earth Power is going to hurt at the end of the day. And I'd much rather get that Scald off into the Landorus and see if we can get rid of it. We don't have any special attack drops into Suicune, so we should be alright with that +1 special attack. Although Terra could flip the dynamic there, so they might go Terra Poison on Landorus. I have been seeing that popping up, so here it comes. Is it Terra Poison? Did I call it? No, it's Terra Ground. Okay. So the Scald's still going to be super effective. And unless they go for Suicune here, or Fancier, we should be okay. Yeah, there's the Sancier. Alright, so we're going to dodge with the Gouging Fire. So hopefully the +1 special defense is going to be enough. So there we go. Goodbye, Landorus. You'll love to see it. Alright. You love to see it. Now, they just went straight Hydro Steam into my Gouging Fire. Now, there's no Sun or anything like that, so I'm wondering if my opponent is Specs. If there's Specs, that's great, because that means they can't protect. My Tailwind's gone, so Walking Wake's going to be faster than Suicune. I'm pretty sure it's naturally faster than Burning Bull, or Gouging Fire. Oh, there's Kingambit. That changes a few things a little bit. We're still going to try to go for the... Tailwind, but I think we're going to Heat Crash it into the Kingambit. Oh, we're actually faster than their Walking Wake. That's nice. Not enough to KO, but that is really nice at the end of the day. We survive. So Suicune is going to ensure that we're now faster than both of them. Now, Sucker Punch could be bad. So, I think I Bulwark, and I think I Scald. And we leave Walking Wake to the end here. I think that's what we do here. Because I'm scared of the Sucker Punch just being enough to pick off Gouging Fire. Now, if they Sucker Punch my Suicune, then that could be bad too. So, they didn't. That's great. That's great. Goodbye, Kingambit. And that should be enough for my Gouging Fire to take out the Walking Wake here, which is really nice. So, let's see. Just because it's funny, I'm gonna Terra. I'm gonna Terra because I want to see what this thing looks like. All Terrestrial, and my opponent forfeits. Okay, so we don't see Terra Gouging Fire yet, but it would have been funny to see. So, anyways, good game to my opponent. Okay, so my opponent here has Malabar, Hydrapple, Armarouge, Iron Hands, Indeedee, and Hatterene. So this definitely screams hard Trick Room. That's okay. So long as I leave the speed mode at home, we should be alright. Gouging Fire might not be too bad. I do have to watch out for super sweet syrup off of the Hydrapple lowering my evasion, but this shouldn't be that bad, all things considered. Now, Indeedee, Armarouge, that could be a little bit of a problem, but I really like Metagross here. I really like Metagross, and I really like Rillaboom as well. So, we could do that, or we bring Riolu and then bring Rillaboom and override the Psychic Terrain. That might not be too bad at the end of the day. I really don't have any personal problems with them getting up the Psychic Terrain. Or not the Psychic Terrain, the Trick Room. I really don't, because I can always have the priority in the Grassy Glide. Now, the Iron Hands is going to be incredibly bulky, so I kind of want to bring Flutter Mane, but I'm scared of dealing with it in Trick Room. But we have the Burning Bulwark at our disposal, so we might as well make use of it, and if Hands burns itself off of that, that'd be wonderful. I would just be peachy with that. So let's see what we can do with this team here. So, Malamar, Hydrapple, alright. So, Metagross and Riolu into the Malamar, alright. So, Super Sweet Syrup does activate. I don't have to worry about the evasion there on my Metagross, so that was nice. The Trick Room might be coming off the Malamar. Now, do I feel like I need the Terra Grass or the Terra Fire off of Gouging Fire? And honestly, no, I don't think I necessarily do. So I could see a Foul Play off the Malamar, which would be really bad for Metagross. But I think we're going to go for the Iron Head and the Coaching. If Malamar's going for Trick Room, which I don't know if it gets it or not because I don't use Malamar that much, if it gets it, this could be a little bit spooky if it goes up. But if the Trick Room doesn't go up because I land an Iron Head and they flinch, that's great. So we can always try to deal with that. The Hydrapple is going to be 4 times resistant to my Grassy Glide, so I'll have to try to do something about that. So that wasn't quite enough to knock it out. Oh, I know exactly what this is, because Fu did this. I think they just gave Contrary to that Hydrapple. Which means Leaf Storms and Draco Meteors. Yep. Yeah, I recognize this. Okay. Alrighty. We gotta do something about that apple. Alright. So, we're gonna Iron Head you. And we're gonna Faint into you. Yeah, alright. I like this strategy. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, that was not enough to knock out either of them, but at least we got some good damage. Drago's gonna hurt. We lived. That is nice. So there's the Trick Room. Not as nice, but at least we had the Faint for the Malamar. We can try to protect Metagross, and we can go from there. Yeah, Draco Meteor is going to be a bit scary now that it's at +4. But we got rid of the Malamar, that's great. Yeah, so anyways, the Contrary Hydrapple, I saw Fu 2. I saw this come up in my subscription feed, and it's gross, that's for sure. Okay, there's the Indeedee, so now I do have to do something about that if I want to be able to go for Coaching. But if I let Metagross go down here, I could bring in Rillaboom and have Grassy Glides. I could do that. So we're going to Iron Head into the Hydrapple, and we're going to protect Riolu, because we can always bring in Rillaboom. We can go for the Coaching into Rillaboom, and then that way. Rillaboom will hit +1. We have the Assault Vest, which means we can always go for a knockoff. Now, luckily that Fickle Beam was just that. They didn't get the +6 with their Draco Meteor, which that would have been very, very scary. But at least we're going to get rid of the Psychic Terrain, so that should be a little bit helpful. We don't have to worry about Expanding Force. Just taking out both of these, especially if they just knock out my Riolu and Rillaboom, or if they bring Rillaboom to the point of no return. But we're going to go for a knockoff for that. At least it's super effective damage. Rillaboom will get the +1 in its attack and defense. The question is can we live with the Assault Vest, and how much longer of Trick Room do we have to just endure? We did live, okay. I don't like with how little we lived, but we lived. We get rid of the Indeedee, that's great. So now we just gotta go from there. Hydrapple's gonna get a little bit of HP back. Rillaboom and Riolu get a little bit back too, but that's not really going to matter. And the last one is Armarouge. All right, so definitely not something I want my Rillaboom to see, but it's not the end of the world. Grassy Glide's not going to do that much damage to either of these, but problem is Rillaboom is faster than Armarouge too, so this is at least so that we can get a little bit of damage into the Armarouge. We'll go for a feint into the Armarouge. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe it's actually weak armor on the Armarouge, and then that way we can just make them go fast. Okay, there's Terra Poison on the Hydrapple. I really like the look of that. That is pretty cool. Maybe this is weak armor, though. We actually just pop a +2 speed that just outspeeds their Armarouge. It's not. But anyways. What I'll do, because Trick Room is now going to end, I could try to go with the Gouging Fire into the Hydrapple. Now, if they go Protect, that's it. There's no way I'm outliving 5 turns of Trick Room. Alright, so Riolu goes down. Gouging Fire might stand a fair chance against the Hydrapple. Might being the key word. Now, we do have the Psychic Fangs to hit this thing for super effective, and we're definitely going to attempt it. If they go Protect and just set Trick Room, that's it. That's the obvious play, but I don't really see any other reaction. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, I can't believe I just barely let it hold on. Okay. Power Herb, Armarouge. Here comes the Meteor Beam. And they connect with the Draco for the win. Okay. Okay, that's definitely game, unfortunately. But man, that's such a fun little strategy right there with the Contrary and Skill Swap. I really wish I won for the Hydrapple. I definitely overestimated it. Or underestimated it. Yeah, underestimated it. It's a shame I didn't get the flinch into Malabar, because if I got the flinch into Malabar, that would have been great, but chances are it was probably Covert Cloak. Anyways, yeah, I probably should have went for the Hydrapple, and then that way if we got rid of the Hydrapple, well, you saw what the Hydrapple did to my team. Anyways, good game to my opponent. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out this Gouging Fire and Riolu team in action. I hope between this video and last video, you guys had fun watching it work. And if you hadn't watched the last video, definitely go watch that. It was definitely a good time for Gouging Fire and Metagross. That said, as far as this video went, unfortunately we did go 1-1, but I think things were pretty good, all things considered. In that first game with the Walking Wake and Landorus, we definitely had a lot of work cut out for us with the Gouging Fire, but we pulled it through, and we were able just to secure the win. And Suicune was definitely the MVP for that match, because really, without Suicune getting that Tailwind as well as the Scald into the Landorus, Gouging Fire would have been an absolute sitting duck, and Flutter Mane put in a lot of work in that game as well with the speed drops from the Icy Wind. Walking Wake definitely would have outsped us, and I'm definitely thinking that was a choice specs Walking Wake since they kept going for the Hydro Steam. But anyways, we definitely got to do a lot of work with the Gouging Fire and Suicune. I'm very happy with how that played out, and we didn't unfortunately get to see the Terra on the Gouging Fire because my opponent did cancel. I do think it was pretty funny to still have that option at our disposal, and we're definitely going to use that as the thumbnail in case you were wondering why there's a terrestrialized Gouging Fire on the thumbnail. That's why, because I'm giving you what we were denied in that first match. And then in the second match there, we did get to play against Contrary Hydrapple with Malamar Shenanigans. We got to survive the Trick Room, and it was a little bit heartbreaking getting down to the last two Pokemon there for the Hydrapple just to hold on and survive that Psychic Fangs while it was Terra Poison. and just pick us off with the Draco Meteor. If we had gotten a little bit of a better damage roll, or, you know, maybe if I had a little bit more attack investment into this Gouging Fire, we might have held through, because for all I know, that could have been a very, very defensive EV'd Hydrapple, so it could have been that too, but I definitely liked seeing that strategy, and I hope you guys like that strategy as well. I'm okay with showcasing that and definitely taking the L for it. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this team. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Next video here, we're going to do Raging Bolt, because it makes sense to do the third one out of the 3 of them. Because you know what? We did Walking Wig for 2 videos. We did Gouging Fire for 2 videos. And unless I have some weird hate on for Raging Bolt, which I don't, it just does not make sense to just not do Raging Bolt. So anyways, look forward to that in the future.